Hey, family, we back at it again. Welcome to Put Your Dukes Up Reaction. Simply translate to, we got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. With that being said, we got another one here for you today. Oh, man, we got this beautiful queen who been changed by her ex-husband. Uh, it's a wild ride. Let me let you see it for yourself.
Delisha was found dead Friday night inside suspect Ryan Phillips's car near St. Louis. Phillips is Delisha's ex-boyfriend. Delisha filed several police
Hey,
reports
boy.
claiming Phillips had been abusing her for months, saying he traveled to Texas often and stole Delisha's car, money, threatened her and her daughters, and this video even showing Phillips breaking into her home.
He took somebody that I think I really need in my life.
Sometimes the most terrifying predictions come from the people who love us most. And sometimes we ignore them until it's too late.
The most genuine person, one of the most genuine people I've ever met.
It's the very, very, very top. It's the very, 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 very.
Dede, what the fuck? He gon' kill you. She says, I know SMH, pray for me. I'ma move with caution. These text messages were exchanged between Delisha Evans and her children's father, just months before she would be found dead in her ex-boyfriend's car after a high-speed police chase that ended in a deadly crash.
When your loved ones are telling you and giving you that warning, pay attention to it. No matter how you can see that good in that other person, but if everybody on the outside looking in can see and tell you, baby, walk away, walk away, walk away.
Delisha had been taken against her will by her longtime toxic convicted boyfriend Ryan Phillips, age 33, who didn't want her to break up with him. So he took her against her will, set her house on fire in the process, and took her on the run to another state.
Friday morning, Princeton police announced they discovered Delisha's house was on fire and she was missing.
I'm gonna marry her anyway. Marry that girl. Marry her anyway. Marry that girl. We started family say.
Before we get too deep, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you find value in these discussions. But before we get to that devastating final chase, we need to understand how a successful businesswoman with everything going for her ended up trapped in a relationship that everyone around her could see was going to destroy her. Delisha Evans, also known as Dee Dee, was a mother of two who grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, but Delisha decided to expand her wings, so she moved to Dallas, Texas, where she started many businesses. Delisha was a serial entrepreneur. She owned a tax filing company called Royalty Financial Advisor. She did taxes for people and was able to make serious money doing that. Delisha was also into the trucking business. On social media, she said, I really used to dream about being an entrepreneur on the beach with my computer, making money while on vacation in a bikini, and I am here doing it. She posted another update saying, I've been holding in my good news because everyone is not genuinely happy for you. Today makes a month since I bought my freight truck. Life is great. Delisha was thriving. She traveled for vacation, spent time with her kids, had her businesses running smoothly. She was passing all her exams left and right. Even though she had moved to Texas, she and her children's father maintained a healthy relationship for the sake of their daughters. But then Delisha met a man who would change everything. A man who had just spent 10 years in prison. Ryan Phillips, age 33.
Why you gotta be so rude? I'm gonna marry. I'm curious, women. Y'all gotta put it in comments for me. How is it that a cat come out the penitentiary and get the beautifulest women it is? I mean, he been gone for 10 years, get out the joint, and women flock to him. I hear that all the time. And we celebrate the cats come home. Coming out of the penitentiary like they coming from college. You know, I'm trying to understand that. I see if that was his wife before he went. But y'all got to put in the comments, help me understand that. Anyway, marry that girl, marry it anyway.
Now, it's obvious from the records that he had spent 10 years in prison, but that did not stop Delisha from falling for him. According to the Missouri Department of Corrections, Phillips was in prison for 10 years on charges that included attempted assault on law enforcement and armed criminal action. At the time of Delisha's death, Phillips was out on parole.
Oh, baby, baby, we belong together.
Ryan Phillips was a character, and that started showing early in their relationship. Delisha's children's father kept warning her about this new guy in her life, but she always said she could handle him.
I'm not turned down.
Let's look at more of those text messages between Delisha and her children's father. She says, "I got this all planned out. I know how to handle him, you know." Her baby daddy responded, "Leave the police out of it." She says, "Leave the feds out of it." He says, "That's a pressure point to blow. Protect my kids." And she says, "Yes, we all one family. Maybe one day we can all kick it." He says, "Nah, I've been in these streets and have dealt with many different type of people. Buddy energy ain't right. And before you say I'm tripping cause he around the kids, people been around my kids, and you been keeping you a guy or two around. That don't faze me not 1%. I know what I'm talking about." He says, "Nah, I wish you and Buddy the best. Creepin' it." Delisha says, "Correct. He not creepy. He just love him some Dee. And then he says, "He doesn't fit. Something's not right. Pray to God I'm wrong. Cause if Maya ever call me crying, I'm on Fox 2 the same night." Her final response to him was, "Finally found someone who loved me with my flaws and bad attitude." All this while, Ryan Phillips was already showing his true colors. He had threatened Delisha's life and also threatened her kids. He had broken into her house multiple times and did it repeatedly, but she felt it was all for love. She thought he was doing all those things because he really loved her. Ryan also told her that he was diagnosed with cancer, so it was really tough for her to just abandon him with this supposed illness.
She has a big heart, and she fell for that. He willed her back in by him guilt tripping her with the cancer.
But even with the cancer manipulation, friends started stepping in. A few of her friends told her to knock it off when they were out partying, which was the only time they could get to see her anymore. That's when Delisha finally started to back out of the relationship. But by then, it was too late. She told Ryan Phillips she couldn't deal with him anymore because his breath stinks. After all the violence, all the threats, all the breaking and entering, what finally made her try to end it was his bad breath. They went back and forth in their messages about why he kept coming back to her after their breakups, even though he lived in St. Louis and she was in Texas. But Ryan Phillips wasn't the type of man who accepted rejection.
Evan's friend Salome Momo said the couple's relationship was unhealthy.
On multiple occasions, he told her that he would kill her.
Yet somehow, he was still allowed to remain on parole. Delisha filed several police reports claiming Phillips had been abusing her for months, but the system failed her.
I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm hurt.
Because it's just like, how could y'all allow him to do so many crimes over and over again?
Ryan Phillips was a man with nothing to lose. He had already served 10 years in prison. He had no job, no prospects, no future. She had everything he wanted and everything he could never have. The manipulation tactics Phillips used were straight out of a predator's playbook. First, the cancer lie to gain sympathy. Then, the guilt trips to keep her coming back. When that didn't work, he escalated to threats and violence. But Delisha was trying to break free. Her last social media posts showed a woman who was still building her empire despite the chaos in her personal life. She was still posting about her businesses, still traveling, still being a mother to her girls. What Delisha didn't realize was that Ryan Phillips was watching her every move. As investigators would later discover, Phillips was tech savvy. He likely had her under surveillance through tracking devices or apps. He always seemed to know where she was, what she was doing, who she was with. The weekend of September 4th, 2024, everything came to a head. According to Delicia's friend Salome Momo, Delicia was last seen Wednesday night. Her 13-year-old daughter asked where her mom was. Phillips, who was still around, said Evans was asleep upstairs. But here's where it gets disturbing. For the next 2 days, Thursday and Friday, Phillips drove the 13-year-old to school in a rental car, pretending everything was normal. The teenage girl had no idea her mother was likely already gone. During this time, Phillips was putting his plan into motion. On Friday morning, September 6, 2024, Evans' house was found on fire. Family members told first responders that Delicia was missing. The house had been set on fire by someone, and while her kids were safely evacuated, Delicia herself was nowhere to be found. Police in Princeton, Texas, immediately activated a critical missing person alert Friday morning, identifying Phillips as the primary suspect in Evans' disappearance. They tracked his direction of travel using license plate readers and discovered he was headed back to St. Louis, back to where it all started. Missouri state troopers were able to locate his red Range Rover using license plate readers. They attempted to stop the vehicle in St. Louis County, but Ryan Phillips would not stop. He knew what was in that car. He knew there was no going back. Phillips fled and led the cops on a long, high-speed pursuit. During the chase, witnesses reported seeing the SUV driving erratically, weaving through traffic at dangerous speeds. The pursuit continued eastbound on Interstate 44, then exited onto South Elm Avenue and continued to South Rock Hill Road. Around 5:40 Friday evening, the chase came to a violent end. The red SUV crashed and rolled over at the intersection of South Rock Hill Road near Party Road.
We saw cops with shields coming out. We knew the situation was pretty dire.
After the crash, Phillips fired at police officers. Neighbors reported hearing 10 to 15 gunshots. A gun was found lying on the ground next to the overturned car. During the exchange of gunfire, Phillips was killed, but the most horrific discovery was yet to come. Inside that red Range Rover, Missouri state troopers found Delicia Evans' body. The understanding from investigators was that she was already not alive when she was in the car. The autopsy results would later confirm what investigators suspected. Delicia Evans had been dead for some time before that car chase even began. This means Ryan Phillips drove around for hours, possibly even days.
This clown rode around with a body in the back on the highway. Wow. Something special. That's all you can say. Just something special. This dude on the E-way with a body going back to the loop. Ooh.
With her body in that vehicle, taking her children to school, pretending everything was normal. Phillips had vowed he was not going back to prison, and he got his wish, but he took an innocent woman with him. The aftermath of this tragedy sent shockwaves through both the St. Louis and Dallas communities. Friends and family were left trying to piece together how someone so successful, so intelligent, could end up in such a devastating situation.
He took someone's daughter, someone's friend, someone's mother. Selfishly, we'll never get a why. We'll never get to a place of understanding.
Delicia's children were left without their mother, their home destroyed by fire, forced to start over completely. Her 13-year-old daughter and 4-year-old daughter went to live with their father in St. Louis, the same man who had tried desperately to warn their mother about Ryan Phillips. At Delicia's memorial service, her daughter stood up and delivered words that were both heartbreaking and powerful.
So my mom was really strong, and I know that she fought all the way to her passing, and I know that she's a fighter. I know who she is, and I know that nobody really wants her. She doesn't want anybody to be crying over her death because she is a party animal and also she loves traveling. So she was a very happy person. And please also live your life to the fullest because you don't know when you're not going to be able to see the next day. So that's all I'm going to say. And I don't know when domestic violence is going to end. I really hope soon. But I just, if somebody hurts you, please call the police or leave them as soon as they do that to you, because that's not okay. And no matter how much they apologize, if they did it once, they're gonna do it again.
The Chavis family, who had previously lost a family member to violence, attended the memorial to show support.
When we were in need, everybody in St. Louis did the same thing for us, so it's our turn to do what we were supposed to do.
The community rallied around Delicia's children, setting up a GoFundMe to help them rebuild their lives after losing everything in the house fire. But no amount of money could bring back their mother or erase the trauma of what happened. Friends hoped Delicia's story would serve as a warning to others. The children's father, who had sent those prophetic text messages, posted on social media, "Me and Delicia had our ups and downs through roughly 15 years. Ups and downs and all over again. But through it all, we maintained true friendship and some type of togetherness and partnership for our girls." Last week, I went to Texas to keep an eye on the girls for holiday weekend while she went on a trip, and she jokingly tells me to take the girls and run until we meet again, Dee. Those words, "take the girls and run," now carry a weight he never could have imagined. Ryan Phillips was buried without fanfare. His 10 years in prison had taught him nothing about rehabilitation or redemption. Instead, he emerged more dangerous than when he went in, a predator who specifically targeted successful women who had something he wanted. Delicia Evans was laid to rest in St. Louis, surrounded by family and friends who remembered her not for how she died, but for how she lived. The balloons released in her honor floated up into the sky. Purple balloons, for a woman who had worked so hard to build something beautiful, only to have it destroyed by someone who couldn't stand to see her succeed without him. Today, Delicia's daughters continue to grow up without their mother. They have each other, they have their father, and they have a community that won't let them be forgotten. But they also have to live with the knowledge that their mother's life could have been saved if just one person, if she herself, had listened to the warnings that were there all along. Sometimes love makes us blind. Sometimes hope makes us foolish. And sometimes the people who love us can see the danger that we refuse to acknowledge until it's too late. Rest in peace, Delicia Evans. Your story will not be forgotten, and neither will the lesson it teaches us all. So that's it for today's video. Stay safe out there, and I hope these stories help you recognize warning signs and encourage you to see.
I send my condolences to the family. It's sad, man. A man should be a man and know when it's over. If a woman don't want you no more, ain't nothing you can do about it. It's done. You know, a man needs to stand up and know. If a woman says it's over with, go on about your business, man. There's other fish in the sea. You can't make nobody be with you. Period, point blank. You can't make nobody stay with you. To any man that's watching this, if a woman tell you to stop, man. That's the manly thing to do. That's what men do. You move around. You ain't got to put your dukes on. You ain't got to do none of that. Pat your feet, turn the corner, period. Until next time, family, I'm out.
Say no, crack it, yeah, 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 yeah.